wrong for the Cowboys yesterday. Some of these are obvious, some not, but I'm going to move through them quickly. And the Cowboys honestly deserve every ounce of smoke they're about to get from the national media this week because their ego got the best of them. There is some good news as well that I'm going to explain at the end. Now, I speculated this on Saturday.
Let me stop that because that's going to throw me off from my interview today because I have an awesome young lady that I'm interviewing. So I will have my 2 pennies after I interviewed this awesome woman that stopped by. We flown her in all the way from New York City, as us Southerners would say. But she's met on TikTok. We met on TikTok. And during the pandemic, I watched a lot of her lives. And she's super positive like I am. So my show is all about like-minded people. But I'm not going to steal any of her thunder. She's a business advocate. And I hope y'all got a notebook and a pen because she's going to give us some of those things that us business owners, especially minorities, need to make sure that's on our checklist. So without any further ado, Miss Veronica, the business owner. Let's go, Miss Veronica. Miss Veronica, I am doing fine. How you doing?
I'm good. That was a beautiful introduction. I greatly appreciate it.
Well, you know, it's easy to talk about awesome people, you know.
Oh, I'm going to
play. Well, listen, introduce yourself to everybody and then let us know how you even got on TikTok.
Okay, so I'm Veronica Marie, and I go by now Phoenix the Goddess on TikTok. I actually started TikTok as a means of advocating for different issues.
Okay, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. And like one of the first things I actually talked about was the epidemic of veterans that were unaliving themselves.
Yeah.
That was one of my very first, if not the first, it was probably like the second or third.
Yes, ma'am.
But after that, I realized, like, wait a minute, my voice does have value. And there's a space for me here as well. Yeah. And so I just decided to do that. Now, what we're talking about today is a departure from what I would normally talk about on TikTok. Only because up until this point, I had to filter through my own feelings about what I do. And also, anything that I say anywhere on social media and in this interview is not a reflection on my employer. It's not, they don't have these views or anything like that.
Understand.
So I just want to throw that out there because the fight is back.
Right. That's good. So unpack that a little bit when you say you had to kind of sift through your feelings about your advocacy now as a business advocate. What kind of unpack that a little bit for us? What do you mean?
It's not easy work, especially when you're advocating for the use of minority businesses. It is not easy work. You are challenging social norms. You are challenging cultural norms. You are challenging people's mindsets that are in decision-making roles. And it can be very, very difficult. And it can wear on you after a while because you're constantly, hitting your head against a stone.
Understand. Right.
It's not, while I take great pride in it, it's also something that I have at times considered stepping away from because it does take a toll after a while.
Yeah.
And we'll get into more of what I mean by that. But I wanted to start kind of small and simple and then graduate into why it does take a toll on somebody like me that really does have a passion for doing this work.
Oh, that is so awesome. So let's go through the back door real quickly. Give us a couple of minutes on this. So as you advocate for us business owners, minorities in business, what are some of the challenges you want to share with us? What should we make sure we're doing as a business owner, a minority business owner?
So the very first thing that I would tell anybody is your back office has to be in order. Your financials, everything has to be in order, especially when you're looking to get higher contracts. And if you're looking to contract with the government, you have to have, that is nothing but paper. I will tell you right now.
Paperwork. As Big Mama say, have your stuff in order.
That's right. If you don't have your house in order, nobody's looking to hire you.
Yeah,
And
because they need to know, first of all, you can do the job. Number two, you're going to be, if this is a word, you're going to be fiducial. You're going to be financially responsible, because a lot of the PPP loans that we saw, people were not responsible. And you're going to have to pay that money back. So like you're saying, we got to make sure our ducks in a row so somebody can say, okay, I can trust them to do what they say they're going to do.
Exactly. And then on top of that, your paperwork will help you to grow as well, because you can prove on paper that you're capable of doing this work. You're proving on paper what your net worth is, what your financial status is. And that does go a long way, especially for minority businesses. It doesn't necessarily hold true when you get outside minority businesses, but especially with minority businesses that we know that we have to work 5 times as hard for half as much.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point. That's a good. So what is it that you advocate? What does advocacy in your eyes, what does that look like?
Advocacy is walking into the rooms with the decision makers and basically having to say, you know what, this business is qualified.
Okay.
This business, there's no reason why this business should not seriously be considered for this.
Okay.
This business is able to do the work. They have expressed interest. They have responded in writing. They have provided everything you have asked for. So there is no logical reason for not considering them. So at the end of the day, what you're really asking people to do, which is very uncomfortable, is to face their biases.
Right.
Nobody wants to admit they're biased.
That's right. Look in the mirror.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's easier when you go into these rooms with decision makers for decision makers to say, oh, well, minority businesses aren't qualified. On what basis are you making that statement?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And so that goes all back to paper, having all the paper in the row, because I can't do my job if I don't have your paper.
That's awesome. So that's your first stop before you take on an advocation, if that's a word. Before you take on an advocacy, you got to be comfortable with the entity that you're advocating for.
I have to know, because they're going to question me and my advocacy if I'm saying something and it's not true, or if I'm advocating for somebody that is not qualified and cannot do the work, then that brings into question anything I'm advocating for. And so I have to be very particular in how I advocate and who I advocate for, or what entities I advocate for.
That's good. And so, because a lot of times, and I'm sure you tell your clients this, don't take this personal. It has nothing to do with feelings and these corporate dollars we're looking for, this government money we're looking for. It has no feelings. Now, I got to make sure A is A and B is B for you to get this multi-million-dollar contract. It's nothing personal, so don't get no attitude.
Well, that's exactly it. And the realm that I work in is mostly construction.
Okay.
And so there's another layer of complexity, which is trying to get financing. So a lot of the small businesses that need financing because they need bonding, they need insurance. They don't have access to that because they don't have the finances, and they can't get the finances without the paper.
And it's a catch-22, isn't it? That is so good. We're going to dig deep into that. We're going to run to a quick commercial. We're going to dig deeper into that. We with Veronica, y'all, the business advocate, and she is so awesome. Now y'all see what I'm talking about. She's awesome, ain't she? So y'all hold tight. We'll be right back.
If you would like to support the Dr. Sims Show, send your donations to Cash App $Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
I want you to know I am so excited about this Sync Wire product, the car wireless FM transmitter. I set it up yesterday, real easy setup. And I called one of my colleagues on the phone through the transmitter, through the FM transmitter. And we were talking, and I said, Coach Angel, can you hear me okay? And she said, Dr. Sims, you sound clear as a bell. And I'm just telling you, I'm so excited because I do a lot of communicating in my car, and most states now are hands free. And so this allows me to be on the phone, drive hands free without any complication. So you need to do yourself a favor. If you're like me and you pretty much spend a lot of time in your car, you need this SyncWire product. And remember, as I always say, if you stay high on life, life is going to stay high on you.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I am sitting here with Miss Veronica, the business advocate. So once you make sure that you are confident in the business that you're advocating, what's that next step? What is the next thing you want to make sure your business owner understands as they go through this process? Because you said earlier in our interview that it takes a toll on you. You know, you fighting all of the biases and all of the, how shall we say, all of the favoritism. You know, you got to fight through all of that. I mean, you're like a superhero. You know, you are Wonder Woman, you know. And so what's another thing you want to share with your business owners before you advocate for them? Number one, have your paperwork together. And what's another thing you want your business owners to understand?
You really need to create your networks. And when I say that, it's not just, okay, well, just in your particular field, like let's say you're a lawyer, you just network with other lawyers. No, you want to network with other professionals. You want to network in as many directions as you possibly can, because you never know where your opportunity is going to come from.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because another thing that speaks to, you got to have a good reputation.
Yes.
Because we're talking about millions of dollars on the line. And as we say in church space, your works ought to speak for you.
Right. And so what you don't want to do is cut yourself off from those opportunities.
Right.
And if you're going for contracts that are millions of dollars, it may make more sense to joint venture with another party or to even subcontract under a party.
That's good.
To be able to get the opportunity. So let's say that I'm a minority law firm.
Okay.
And I have I've networked now with a minority architect or engineering firm. We come in to propose to perform services for a general contracting firm.
Right.
We have a stronger proposal than somebody coming in with just one aspect.
Right.
And so that's something to keep in mind is, you know, if you joint venture, even if it's within your profession or within your own, you have more access to money. And then not everything is on you either. So it's a 2-for-1 special.
That's good. That's really good. And I guess that also speaks to, as a business owner, you can't have a big ego, right? Teamwork makes the dream work. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
Yeah.
And the other thing with networking is you want to network with different organizations. So they have different minority organizations. They have different women-owned business organizations, right? So I know here in New York, there's an organization called the New York State Real Estate Chamber.
Okay.
And they're a group of minority developers and contractors that basically that come together and they discuss the issues that they're having in the construction or the real estate development space. And they do other events in order to inform their membership as well of different changes that are coming up that affect them, etc. So those are things to consider.
That is so basically what you're preaching today, what you are advocating today is, don't try to go this thing business. Don't try to do it all by yourself. You know, make sure you connect with the right type of people. If you really want to be prosperous as a minority business, get out of your own way, team up with people, and make sure your stuff is together. So again, you know, in our pre-production in the green room, we talked about mindset. Speak to the type of mindset we as minority business owners, what type of mindset should we have? And what have you seen that's to our detriment as we talk about mindset? What do you see as detrimental to us? And then what do you see as beneficial to a healthy business mindset?
Well, one of the things that I've seen that's been detrimental is never think that you're not replaceable or that you automatically have to get a contract, because in government contracting, at least in the state that I'm in, there are goals for minority business use, right?
Okay.
You never want to take for granted that there are goals and say, well, you need me, so I'm going to do whatever I want to do.
Oh,
If you
wow.
you'll get pushed out
Yeah.
immediately.
Yeah. It's
And you're
quick. And the process is so long, but you can lose it like that. Am I correct?
yes, yes. So the process just for getting onto a contract can be kind of difficult, but the
Okay.
process, because we have certifying agencies here in New York that certify minority and women-owned businesses.
Okay.
New York State's process has taken a long time for a while now. I think
Okay.
they're working on ways to fix that. I'll tell anybody, go get certified by New York City. You don't have to have the business in New York City or live in New York City to
Right.
get certified by New York City.
Okay.
And it's the same. The same can be said for the state. But I would say go get any kind of certifications you can that
Right.
will give you an edge. But the biggest thing is consistency. Getting out there, getting your name out there, making sure your work is consistent, because you want your reputation to remain one that is consistent, and consistent in a good way.
Right.
So you definitely need to be able to talk to people and have those communication skills. You
Okay.
need to be able to say, well, I can consistently deliver without a problem. And
Right.
P.S., I can help you out because I'm a minority business, but I'm not going to try to jack up my rates knowing that you need me.
Understand. That is so good. That is so good. That is so good. So I know, I know that what you're doing is very, very draining. So how do
Yeah.
you keep Veronica's mental? How do you keep you in check?
There have been times where I've actually gone into therapy, absolutely, because it gets to a point where it does get draining, it gets frustrating, and I found at times that I've even been angry.
Okay. Okay.
You know, but I have people around me who will also say, "Hey, you know what? You got to dial back a little bit
Right.
because you're like they understand the passion, but they also understand that there's a need for balance." For the most part, I think I'm able to keep a balance emotionally, though, because my eye is on the prize.
Yeah.
And the prize is to
Yeah.
ensure that these businesses get the opportunities they deserve.
Right.
So as long as I can push that they deserve an opportunity, I'm good. The issues come when you're coming against cultural obstacles and political obstacles.
Oh, gotcha, girl. It gets deep, doesn't it?
It does. Whew. I mean, I know that we have a lot to talk about, but that's something that I definitely have to stress is that there are bigger obstacles than a lot of people think when it comes to the business world.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm definitely gonna bring you back because, girl, we just scratching the surface, y'all. Well, listen, guys, y'all hold tight, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about again some tools that you can use to really be successful as a minority business owner. You know, we've talked about several things already. Your paperwork has to be in order. Make sure you're networking with the right people. Make sure you might subcontract, because that helps you not necessarily take care of that full load of that entire contract. So just a little piece of it, oh, I can do that. I can do that 100% of the time. I can do that. I may not be able to do the whole thing, but that little piece right there, oh yeah, I got that all day and twice on Sunday. So y'all hold tight and we're going to be right back.
If you would like to support the Dr. Sim Show, send your donations to Cash App $Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We got the last segment with Miss Veronica. Miss Veronica, how did you even get into this line of work in the first place?
So I have been working in affordable housing for
Okay.
a long time now, since 2003.
Okay.
I actually started on contract with HUD, and then I was picked up by the state um, in connection with an audit to help resolve those issues.
Okay.
And so, Patterson was in office as governor
Okay.
and
Okay.
laying off a bunch of people, and I was on the line because I was a political appointee.
Okay.
And I got hired in the final hours by the particular office I work for now,
Right.
which deals with diversity initiatives. And at the time, we were doing even more than the piece that we're doing now. We actually honed into this piece, which is contracting, but we also did diversity in terms of residential, how do I want to say it, in terms of tenancy and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So as we wrap up our interview with you, this is part one. You're going to definitely come back for part two. What are some of the tools that minority business owners can use to kind of help keep us ahead of the curve, if you will, help us to be proactive and not reactive, cause access and knowledge and all of that work together. So what are some of the tools that we need to make sure that's in our pocket?
Well, I wanted to actually put in here that I know a gentleman by the name of, they call him David Kayamite, but his name is actually Kayamit.
Okay.
And he has an organization called the Minority Business Development Institute. So I would go and definitely check out that website, because that's to help, business owners develop their businesses. So I would definitely check them out. And I would also say, now going into the back into the line of networking, lobbying power is essential.
Okay.
You need, and this is another reason why you need to network. You need to push political power as a group. You cannot do it alone.
You can't eat that elephant all by yourself.
No, you need a lot.
Okay.
And so a lot of times, businesses, minority businesses in particular, will think that, oh, well, this elected official said that they're going to do this, and it's not that simple.
Okay.
Their electeds don't work by themselves either. They have to deal with their colleagues who may not necessarily agree.
Okay.
And that's why you need the lobbying power to push the colleagues of those that are friendly to your cause to also be friendly to your cause.
Right. That is awesome. So continue to network, lobby, the Minority Business Institute. That is just phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Well, let me tell you. Tell us this. Give us a horror story and give us a success story. When you talk about one of the worst incidents that you have, what immediately comes to mind, and then a success story that immediately comes to mind. Talk to us.
There was one instance that there was, to no fault of their own, there was an organization, there was a business that came in, and they had been doing the work, and it just turned into a quagmire because we started facing cultural norms. And so there was a sense that they should not ask for the fee they're asking for, because there was a majority firm involved that was a sole proprietor that was not asking for the same amount.
Understand.
And the thing is that the majority firm only handled one aspect, but this firm handled multiple things. And so it was very difficult, because there was this notion of they're asking for too much. And then there were other things that happened that we'll talk about offline. But that was a horror story.
Oh, bless your heart. And you had to go through that with this particular company, huh?
Yes. And so I can't tell you how many times we had meetings about this firm and talked about this firm. And I got tired of the meetings to a point where I had to send pointed emails that did not go over very well.
I understand.
And I was like, I got to do my job, and my job is to advocate for this business.
That's right. That's right.
So,
and and your position was, this is fair and reasonable.
Yes.
And y'all, the major companies doing this piece, the minority business that's working with you guys, they're doing this. And so you have to pay that price.
Exactly. And if you want to negotiate with them for a reason, to come down, then the scope has to be reasonable. You can't ask them to do same amount for a quarter of the price that their counterpart is doing just a quarter of the work.
That's right. And that one dynamic right there, therein lies your turmoil from time to time.
And that was the thing, so that was one case where they tried to say, oh, well, this firm is overbidding. And it was like, no, they're not overbidding. They're bidding based off of their experience.
Right.
And they're doing this kind of work. And you cannot say that they are not deserving of this rate based off what they're doing.
That is so good. So give us a success story real quick. We got a couple of minutes.
So one of the things that I love is seeing a business that is a minority business advocate for other minority businesses. So we had a business that was hired to actually advocate for some things, for access to certain things that are necessary for minority businesses to flourish. And so this particular business did that job. And even though the company at large did not take them up on everything, it still started the dialogue about making sure that minority businesses have the resources they need in order to be able to engage fully. And that's how we move from equality to equity.
That girl, we're going to have you back. How can people get in touch with you, Miss Veronica?
Well, I am on, like you said, I am on TikTok. I do have a link tree on my TikTok profile. So if you want, you can take that link and add it to the description for this podcast or for this episode.
Right.
For this episode, you can add the description. You can add the link tree to the description, because that's my contact information.
That is so good. Well, listen, we're going to talk offline in just a little bit, but thank you for being here. You have been just a wonderful, wonderful guest today, and you will definitely be back, my friend. All right?
I am looking forward to it.
All right, y'all, that's right here. That's Ms. Veronica, y'all. She's a business advocate. So y'all hold tight, and we'll be right back, okay?
If you would like to support the Dr. Sim Show, send your donations to Cash App $Walter H. Sims. And remember, we stay high on life.
Oh, I gotta play the introduction. I don't have a lot of time to get into this, but my Dallas Cowboys laid a huge egg against the Cardinals. They were not ready to play that game. They got beat 28-16, and they were not ready to play that game. They overlooked the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know where they got that the Cardinals were not that good. They played the first two games very hard. They played the Commanders, they played the Giants, and they played them tough. But the Cowboys do not have that championship mentality like the 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96 teams did. It's going to be a minute before we get back to the Super Bowl. It's been 25 plus years since we've been to the divisional round of the NFC, or the championship round in the NFC, and go on to not only play in the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. I'm frustrated, I'm aggravated, and I'm going to still watch them every week. And I mean, we struggle against the Cardinals. Lord, help us against the 49ers. Help us against the Eagles. Help us against the Cardinals. And have mercy on Christmas Eve when we play the Dolphins. Oh, breathe, Pastor. Oh, breathe, Rev. Oh, breathe, Rev. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Okay, we still them boy. Y'all, we got to get out of here. We had a great show today. Thank you, Veronica, for the show. being a guest on the show. And tune in every Monday, 8:30 p.m. on IndieSuitMedia.tv. And as I always say, if you stay high on life, life is going to stay high on you.